And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. Dallas the Hammer, the secret eternal, purged the Godwoken and used the source to close the veil to the void. The world was saved. Statues in memory of the Godwoken who sacrificed their source were erected all across Rivellon. They would never be forgotten. The half-demon Malady took pity on the soulless Godwoken silent monks and brought them to the Hall of Echoes. There, from the scraps of their souls that remained, she restored them to life. Sorcerers no more, they lived out the rest of their lives, freed of the burden of being the Godwoken, freed from the weight of the world. As for me, I was already free, and so were the others. The Godwoken sacrifice severed the bond between the Sworn and the God King. To atone for my sins, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly, telling the story of the Godwoken, that the world may never forget the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever known.
It gives me almost as much. I am at...
You look up and with a start. At last, the world was at peace. The ancient Lizard Empire opened its gates. The houses disbanded, and the Empire adopted a pluralist quasi-democracy. Anyone could vote for whoever they pleased, as long as the House of Shadows approved. The Dwarven Godwoken returned to the kingdom and assumed the dead queen's throne. The new king ruled with grace and integrity. Lucian made amends to the elves. He gave them lands and vast riches from the coffers of the old divine order. But the elves never forgave him. They would not trust humans again. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoubt of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The Black Pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade and transport. Lohar the dwarf became mayor. His time in office was cut short by an unfortunate wound that spontaneously appeared on his neck. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Sir Gareth thanked the surviving Seekers for their service and gave them their freedom. Disillusioned with peace, he set out alone to find a new purpose. He would never stop seeking. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. With Amadia silent, the priestess Gratiana left the swamps and re-entered the world. She founded an abbey in the Dragonspine Mountains, offering the last of the undead shelter from fortune hunters, novelty seekers, and ghouls. Jehan the demon hunter found himself at a loose end, so he opened a museum of demonic artifacts. He made a fortune. With Lucian in power, Sahala took the elves away from the world. They grew strong once more amidst the trees of the regrown home forest. Some say her plans for revenge will bring about the end of days. Some say only Tova, her mother, holds her back. Lucian returned as divine, united the races, and became Lord Emperor of all Rivellon. Only Dallis knew that he was entirely powerless. Dallis and you. The Eternal, now known as Dallis, was a secret advisor to Lucian and to his successors. For eons she would walk in the world, and would outlive the peoples and all, and wander alone amongst the dying stars. The Beast of the Sea returned to the Dwarven Kingdom, not as a rebel, but as a lawmaker. Merciful and wise, he led the dwarves into an age of prosperity. His grave looks out over the sea. And then there was you. You returned to the world as one more elf among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility, or did you rebel? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.